Give me one, give me one. Woo!
Bryant for the win. Bang!
They're standing everyone. Oh my, he's got it. Wow. Michigan at the 41. What a hit. Ball's free on the ground. South Carolina deserves to have it. Seth Rollins just curb stomped Randy Orton. And with that curb stomp, the future is now.
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen, with the second episode of this season's podcast. I got my buddy Shane Smith on here, who does weather, but he's really just a wrestling promoter. That's really all he is at heart, I promise.
Yeah, I just do weather at nights. During the day, I'm trying to book my little fantasy WWE matches on 2K16. Not going so well. Haven't been able to do that. Mother Nature's been a little bit of a heel the last couple of days.
Don't worry. The good guys always win in the end, though.
That's true.
Always win in the end. But this weekend we had a big time pay-per-view, Royal Rumble. I think it's probably the best pay-per-view since last year's Mania, and not counting other promotions.
NXT.
NXT or Wrestle Kingdom 10.
Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom 10 was a great show.
That was a great show. But this was a great show. Not a bad match on the card. The Royal Rumble itself was. Meltzer said on his review afterwards that it was one of the best ever.
From top to bottom, I thoroughly enjoyed the Rumble as a whole and the Rumble match. It was a very, very solid effort from WWE. I think the best just paced pay-per-view they've had in a long time. Everything flowed right into each match. All the vignettes were good. I had no major complaints coming out of this show, which is surprising.
Yeah, and one thing that I think helped is the fact that there wasn't a whole lot of matches on the card. You had your pre-show match that nobody ever watches. Some people may love it,
but the Damian Sandow crowd loved it.
Absolutely. But you just had 4 matches in the Rumble, and everything was a title match.
You might as well have called this the Royal Night of Champions. Every title was on the line. Every match had big-time implications, and with everything leading up to Fastlane and WrestleMania, this is the time of year where WWE hits its peak, and I think we're off to a good start to WrestleMania season.
Absolutely, and another thing is that, unlike years before, it always seemed like you knew what was going to happen, what direction they were going in. But I can honestly say, coming into Rumble, I didn't know who was going to come out with the title.
There was a lot of questions surrounding the world title, Roman Reigns going in the champion. Only the second time ever the title's been up for grabs in the Rumble match. First time a defending champion been forced to defend the title in the Rumble match. That in itself was historic. You had all the rumors surrounding AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura and the Bullet Club. Were they going to show up? You had a lot of questions about who the big surprise entrants were going to be this year. Were they going to bring in any veterans for a quick little run? I mean, the Rumble match itself had a lot of suspense built into it. And then you had the 4 undercard title matches, each one with big implications heading into WrestleMania.
And I felt like each title match, other than the Rumble, I called all the matches right, but I wasn't super confident about any one.
No, you really felt like there was a legitimate chance that the titles could change hands in every match. You had no idea who the winner was going to be. There was no clear and predictable booking, which I think is a good thing.
Oh yeah, but let's get to talking about the matches. The first match we're going to talk about is the Divas match, which I think was the most surprising match, entertainment-wise, because I really. We've mentioned that the Divas Revolution has been, on the way down after it was up, had everybody excited, but had a little downward slope there, and now they have this title match. The Nature Boy's involved, who the other time that the title was on the line at Rumble, he's the one that came out with it.
Right.
And he gets involved. Charlotte wins the match after a little,
dirtiest player in the game doing the dirtiest player in the game things.
But the match was just just a good match.
We had seen in NXT Becky Lynch and Charlotte could have a good match. We had known for a fact those two in the ring together can put on an entertaining product. They put together a great match. I loved the. I know a lot of people got up in arms about Ric Flair stealing the kiss from Becky. That's classic Ric Flair. I loved it.
Kiss stealing.
Kiss stealing, Will and Dillon, jet flying, limousine riding. That was awesome. I loved it. I loved the throwing the jacket during the disarmer to get the hold to break. It was a perfect heel move. I mean, and Becky didn't go over, or Becky didn't lose clean. Charlotte won dirty. And then you had the Sasha run-in at the end, which added a whole new layer to the match. So the NXT women that came up last year have really got this Divas Revolution finally heading in the direction it needs to by WrestleMania.
And I think you can make the argument that Sasha, when she came out, might have gotten the largest pop of the night.
I think it's a toss-up between her and AJ Styles for pop of the night, and that's saying something right there.
I mean, I give it to Sasha. I give it to Sasha. Just when the music hit, I think with AJ Styles, a lot.
It was a delayed reaction because nobody knew what his theme music was going to be.
And also, and I hate to say this, there's a big group. I mean, a large portion of the WWE audience who really doesn't know who AJ Styles is.
This is true, but they were in Orlando, TNA's backyard.
Absolutely.
And if you're going to debut AJ Styles somewhere where he's going to be well known, if you're going to do it outside of Philly or New York, which are just smart cities, or Chicago, Orlando is probably the place to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But you just got the kids that just watch the WWE product. They're not going to know who Styles was, and I think that's the only thing that was keeping his pop from being at Sasha's level. But they're not going to be blind to him for much longer.
No.
He's going to do great. I look forward. We'll talk more about that later, though. Do you think at Mania they're going to do Charlotte versus Sasha, or are they going to maybe a triple threat?
I don't think it's going to be a triple threat. I think it's going to be a fatal four-way. I think Bayley interjects herself into this before Mania. I think you have Bayley carrying the NXT title in, trying to go to be the second person to hold the NXT and the Divas title at the same time, following in Paige's footsteps. And if Paige can get well before then, you can maybe pull Bayley out and put Paige into that and have a fatal four-way. But I think the Divas will have a big match. I don't think it's going to be a two-lady match at WrestleMania. I think it's going to be at least a triple threat, if not a fatal four-way. I'd say your players are for sure Becky, Sasha, Charlotte. The fourth woman, if there is one, Bayley or Paige. That's what I would book.
And we've seen a fatal four-way if you're going the Bayley direction. We've seen that fatal four-way, and it's not missed television. And especially at WrestleMania, the stakes are always higher because even if it's just Charlotte versus Sasha, I've seen that match live before, and it's another level.
Here's the thing: each one of these ladies have really raised their game over the last year. They're all learning new moves. They're all becoming better with ring psychology. I think they could put something incredibly special together for WrestleMania, no matter what way they go.
I was talking with one of my friends during this match, and about a minute or two in, they were just running the ropes and doing arm drags, and I said, "This is already just from the arm drags and running the ropes. It's more entertaining than a lot of the women's matches we've seen in years."
Yes, well, the thing with the core of women they are now building this division around, they are very solid in the ring, and that's not to knock the Bellas or any of the ladies that have came before, but the core of women they have that they are building this division around right now are all solid ring technicians, probably some of the best in WWE history. There's a lot of talent to be had. There's some matches that are probably going to be more entertaining than some of the guys' matches when these ladies go out there and leave it all out in the ring.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the next match, which was the first title change of the night. The U.S. title match between Kalisto and Alberto Del Rio. I really enjoyed the match. Kalisto is always just he's a special talent. You know, he's a luchador, so he does the high flying stuff. He does the fast paced, basically don't even take time to sell.
Yeah.
Because he's just into the next spot, into the next spot. Del Rio kind of counteracts that with a slow, methodical pace.
Del Rio's style really reminds me, even though he's from Mexico, he knows the lucha libre style. His style really reminds me more of the Japanese strong style. Very slow, deliberate pace, a very intellectual wrestler. Always going for, working the arms, working the legs. I really like Del Rio's style because it's not what you typically see from a Mexican wrestler. And I think these two pair up very well in the ring. Leading into this match, I was a little confused about the hot potato of the U.S. title.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was something that really didn't sit well with me. But I think at the end, Kalisto's been on a heck of a run since TLC. I hate that Sin Cara is out with injury right now, but Kalisto's making the most of it. And I think this young man has a very, very bright future in the WWE. I'm very excited to see what they build for him and the U.S. title going towards WrestleMania, because I don't think Del Rio is going to be involved in it. I really don't.
No, and let me tell you I'm grasping at straws here, but I've heard, through dirt sheets and, take that with a grain of salt, that WWE has been trying to get Rey Mysterio back. And imagine Kalisto and Rey Mysterio.
That would be a huge match. I don't know if that's going to happen because
I don't either. But
because Mysterio, I believe, is under contract with AAA and Lucha Underground right now. But if they could get like a one-off match, that would be a huge spectacle and a definite draw.
Absolutely. But the only thing with this match is right before the match, the move setting up the finish. There was a botch. It was mistimed. It's disappointing that they mess up that move.
There was a little bit of sloppiness right before the finish, and that takes away from it because the impact from the Sleet of the Soul is just how crisp that move is and how fast it hits.
Yeah, that was a little disappointing, and you kind of like, they were that close to having such a, which it leaves a little mark on the match, but it doesn't change how good the match was.
No, it was a solid match. I'd probably give it about 3 stars. It was a solid match. Kalisto, we didn't see anything else for the rest of the night, but Mr. Del Rio made a return visit during the Rumble match, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit.
Absolutely. But tag titles, which my boys the New Day, they're always entertaining. They're always out to number one, get the cheap heat, and number two, get the they cheat. They
are heels doing what heels are supposed to do. They cheat. They
lie. They cheat and they steal. But
and they win.
Absolutely. The thing that is challenging for them though is they're so darn entertaining that they're over with the crowd. The crowd cheers for them. When they were the good guys, the crowd was chanting "New Day sucks," and now the crowd is chanting "New Day rocks."
They have run into the position to where they are so funny. They have so many of those catchy, smart inside jokes that they've endeared themselves to the internet crowd, and that's gotten them over at the live events. And that you've got popular heels, which is a big no-no in wrestling. You don't want your heels getting cheered.
I like that they're trying to, like the crowd at one point was chanting at Xavier to play the trombone, and he sits it down and says, "I play when I want to play."
Yeah, completely no-sells them, which is what they need to do.
But they dig that too. So they're.
It's a no-win scenario for the New Day, but they are entertaining. They're a talented trio,
and they cheat.
And the Freebird, I love the Freebird style from them. And not to take anything away from the Usos. The Usos had a heck of a run last year. They're a solid tag team, but right now the New Day is playing on a completely different level than anybody else in the tag division. And that creates some interesting challenges going into Mania. What do you do to dethrone the tag champions that's going to make a big impact?
Or can you dethrone them at this point? I mean, who can step up? I know the Usos last year, they were the tag team of the year. They won the Slammy for that. I would have given it to New Day.
I would have given it to New Day as well.
But unfortunately, we only get one. I don't get a million votes. I just get my one. But I think they used to get big reactions, you know, from the kids and from that demographic. But it doesn't seem like they're even getting the pops that they used to get.
Yeah, and I want to say solid match here, but at this
And they
point,
can go. They can go.
The Usos can go. At this point, I don't think the Usos are in the tag title picture come WrestleMania. I think you got to have New Day and you got to have a hot face team coming in from NXT to meet them at WrestleMania. Enzo and Cass.
I'd love it, but I never know.
Because New Day is SAWFT. They're soft. Enzo and Cass, Carmella could come in there and counteract them.
I'd love to see it. I think that is a matchup that sells itself. I think as soon as Enzo and Cass get on the roster, they're immediately over. And when you're at Mania and 100,000 people are saying that intro along with Enzo.
Oh, it's going to be outrageous. It's going to be a WrestleMania moment.
WrestleMania moment. Hopefully we'll see a lot of those coming. But the tag match was great. New Day retains.
Yeah. I don't know right now who in the division could claim a legitimate contendership. The Usos have tried several times and failed now. The Dudleys have tried and failed. Los Matadores has dropped off the face of the earth. I don't know if they've been on Superstars or Main Event. I haven't been watching that much lately. You haven't seen them on any of the big shows. You've got the Hype Brothers down in NXT. Zack Ryder sometimes does his things. You got the Social Outcasts, but they really haven't done anything as a tag team yet. I don't know where you go with this tag team division right now heading into Mania because they're the 500-pound gorilla in the room that's just destroying everything.
Unless the Undertaker swan song is to reunite the brothers.
Brothers of Destruction.
Take out the New Day.
Well, I don't know how I feel about that. I hope that's not the direction they head in.
I would hope it's not either. But if they do decide to call the Undertaker up, them and Kane would probably be able to book them over the New Day.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But going into it, I said this next match will be the match of the night with the Intercontinental title. But the Rumble may have taken it.
It's a toss-up. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. This match gave me everything I wanted. But this year's Rumble was just so darn entertaining. It's hard not to give Rumble match of the night.
I'll say this match gave me everything I wanted except for Kevin Owens walking out with the Intercontinental title. But I can't argue. Dean Ambrose and he was booked well Sunday night, and both of these guys were on fire the entire night.
This match was what a last man standing match should be. It was violent. It was pure aggression. The spots were picked well. Tables were breaking left and right. The Fisherman Buster threw the table off the top rope. I jumped off my couch that Owens hit Ambrose with. I thought it was over with that one.
See, I was hoping he'd put him through the two tables with that. And I think that's what they were teasing.
Yeah.
But it's just, these guys, you just can't go wrong with them. You just can't go wrong. You just put them in there and let them do their thing, let them go wild, try to break each other. Kevin Owens is so methodical. He's so good. He just
the best, right, with Seth Rollins on the shelf, your best heel in the company right there, right now.
Absolutely. And I think he showed up in the Rumble and did it some more.
And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Ambrose right now, after the reaction the Orlando crowd gave Roman Reigns, there's probably your most over face in the company right now.
Absolutely. This match right here, that could be your main event.
Yeah, that could
Mania
be
one day.
This is a modern version, I think, of a Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, or a Macho Man kind of match, a Mr. Perfect kind of match. These are your top tier guys that are getting ready to hit that next level, and that was a perfect example of what they could do.
Absolutely. But let's get on to what everyone was talking about, the Royal Rumble match with Roman Reigns.
One versus all.
Taking on everybody. And there he comes in number one, gets attacked midway through the match. He's coming back out. He's coming back out.
I just wanted to say I loved the booking at the beginning of this match. Rusev and Roman 1-2. You had Rusev, League of Nations. You know they've had their beef with Roman. They're in the pocket of the Authority, working for them. It was a great way to set everything up. And I love that Roman, just in a minute and a half, got him out. And then you're thinking, oh, man, who's this going to be? The music drops. Somebody you don't recognize.
You see his face, Roman's face, and you know something's going on. You hear the crowd before you see the camera shot.
And out walks AJ Styles, flipping the hood.
And these guys went for a few minutes there and did some great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and you got to. AJ's also coming off of a back injury,
Mm-hmm.
so I think he's kind of still protected at this point.
Yeah.
But he worked. He just did. He did great stuff. He lasted a long time.
Lasted 28 minutes, got some big offense in, eliminated 2 guys, I believe it was. I mean, that for a Rumble debut that you're not going to win, that's about the best way you can show in. It's just to last a while and eliminate a few people.
And I loved that he was eliminated by Kevin Owens.
If you were going to have one person to take AJ Styles out of that match, Kevin Owens was the man to do it. Limping out there, acting like he had been through a war. And then he hits the ring and he blows up like a nuclear bomb, taking Styles out. Welcome to WWE. He yells as he throws him out of the ring.
And something that this Rumble was kind of short on was a surprise entrance, because usually you see 5 or 6
guys that are.
But we got Styles early on, we got Sami Zayn, and we got
Triple H. You had 3 guys that were legit surprises.
And everyone else was just active on the roster. Nothing wild.
And I want to take a second before we get too deep in towards the end of the match. Something that happened mid-match that I absolutely loved. R-Truth's music hits. He runs down to the ring. He throws the apron up, pulls the ladder out, sets it in the middle of the ring, climbs the ladder, goes to get the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then he realizes it's not there. That was the best comedy spot ever in the Royal Rumble, in my opinion.
It's up there, and R-Truth, that's what he's good for. I wanted to see him. They're going to have a big tag match on Monday Night Raw like they always do. I wanted R-Truth to come out on Raw and start throwing people over the
top rope.
And then they say, R-Truth, you missed the Rumble, man. That's what I wanted to see, but that'll work. That'll work.
They may do that at WrestleMania.
We'll see what happens.
They'll start throwing people over the top rope in a ladder match at WrestleMania. That's what'll happen.
That should work. That should work. R-Truth, funny stuff, but in the match itself, I think you saw several things teased. AJ Styles and Jericho kind of got teased, and then
they delivered on Monday Night Raw the next night.
So I think you might see something on that. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, that was electric when they met.
Do you think they meet at WrestleMania? Do they go ahead and pull the trigger on that, or do they let it build another year?
I don't know, because you got to think that the way they displayed it was that Kevin Owens, put Sami Zayn out.
Yeah.
So when he comes back and goes right at him, you think that's the most logical thing, but he's also in NXT right now.
And he's got that number 1 contenders match
but at the same
tomorrow night.
At the same time, Kevin Owens was going at it with John Cena with the NXT strap. So you never know. You never know. But I think...
And that's the joy of NXT right there.
Absolutely. I think you might see it at Mania, but I would rather... I would rather see that with a title. What I would do with that is I would do that a slow burn for another year. And I'm telling you, put the main strap on Kevin Owens. If you think and I know Owens could take it.
For sure.
Owens could handle it. I don't know if they would put it on Sami Zayn, but
I'm telling you this, if they wanted to push Sami Zayn to the moon, I think he can handle it. He had such a run going there before his injury at NXT.
If you've ever seen the match he had with Neville for the NXT Championship, that was one of the best matches I saw last year. But Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, or as they were known at the time, Kevin Steen and El Generico in Ring of Honor, had some
knockdown, drag out
battles, And if they could do that at Mania in a ladder match, I mean, it would be big time. But moving on to the end of the match, you saw there was a lot of firsts in this match. There was the first time that the title was on the line. There was the first time that the title was on the line and it got dropped. And you also saw for the first time entrant number 30 walking away the winner. And entrant number 30 was Triple H.
The game, Triple H. And
I also love that he came out to the Motorhead, the game.
Yeah.
His old music.
It was, and what surprised me it wasn't Roman Triple H last 2 men in the ring.
And that goes to Ambrose being booked as strong as he was. I think he's ready for the main event scene. He's had a few main events, but he's just a performer and everybody is behind Dean Ambrose. With Roman Reigns, half the people are behind him.
You've got John Cena syndrome Mark II with Roman Reigns. He's over with the kids. He's over with the ladies. The smarks hate him.
And Ambrose, everybody loves him, just like Daniel Bryan. Everybody loved Daniel Bryan, and I think you have to have that at some point. No matter what anybody wants, no matter what anybody thinks, Dean Ambrose, if he had the title, he'd be over with everyone. He'd be selling merchandise. He's that good.
I agree. Let's talk about some of the negatives in the Rumble match. I know we've talked a lot about the good. I hated the Roman disappearing for 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, because it was just too obvious what was going to happen.
It was at that point. I wish they would have just kept him out and then have him come out on Raw and be like, "I wasn't eliminated. Let's go."
Yeah.
Axelmania 2.0, except with an actual legit.
Yeah.
But so that was one thing I didn't like. I've got mixed feelings about the Wyatts and Brock Lesnar. Because the idea of Bray Wyatt and Brock Lesnar really intrigues me, I just don't know how Bray Wyatt has a legitimate chance in that match right now, the way he's being booked.
Well, that's my issue too, but I think this is their opportunity. This is their opportunity to elevate Bray.
If they are going to put him over, that's the way to do it, but that is going to be a hard sell right now.
It is, and the thing is, Brock doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Brock doesn't need it. Bray needs it. We'll see what they do. We'll see what they do with it. But with Bray, you always have the psychological factor that he can just get in Brock's head and really cause him problems on that side. And if they can do that, they can book Bray Wyatt against anybody on the roster.
And I will say this: the promo wars between Bray Wyatt and Paul Heyman would be stuff of dream.
Oh yeah. The thing that I didn't like about it is that Brock came in and wasted the entire Wyatt. He came in, all of them were there except for Bray.
All of them went to Suplex City.
And they all got eliminated. And if you're going to do that, it just makes the hill that much harder for Bray to climb up. But maybe that's what they want.
I mean, if the final objective if they end up doing a Brock and Wyatt family feud is to put Bray Wyatt over and push him to the next level, I'm all for it. If this is just fodder for Brock, trying to put butts in seats for WrestleMania, Brock's going to go over, I want nothing to do with it.
Absolutely. I know Brock is the, as Vince says, the special attraction though. So maybe do you want to put a dent in that?
I think Brock's Teflon at this point. I don't think no matter what you do, nothing's going to stick as far as like anything that would dent the armor.
And the Wyatts would be the heels. So if Brock loses, it's going to be dirty. You don't lose as much losing dirty.
You don't lose as much losing dirty. And how powerful a statement would it be for Brock to get beaten on the stage he beat Taker, WrestleMania?
And also the same place that Taker beat Wyatt. So who knows?
Well, and that's a whole nother situation we haven't even addressed. Taker was nowhere to be seen during the Rumble. Kane came out, did his thing for a while, got taken out by Braun Strowman. But the Undertaker card has not been played, and we have no direction where that's going.
You have to expect it at some point, but he's got to go out. You just assume he's going to go out at Mania. He's been there for so many years. You think that he's got to have.
I
another
mean,
one
do they try to do Taker Sting at Mania? But I mean, is Sting even going to be able to wrestle again?
I don't think Sting's ready. So, or ready. I think when they announced Sting to the Hall of Fame, that they basically knew that it was over for him. But that remains to be seen. Who knows? Maybe he's still got some left in the tank. But yeah, that's a card that hasn't been played. And I really can't. Looking at the roster, I don't see.
There are a lot of questions going into WrestleMania that I thought we would have at least had some clue where they were going. But right now we don't. I think the main event picture is still swirling around Triple H and probably Roman Reigns. But you had the fallout from Raw where it's going to be a triple threat Roman, Ambrose, and Lesnar to determine the number one contender to face Triple H at WrestleMania. So that's interesting in itself. I think that lends itself to the Wyatt's interfering, screwing Lesnar. That sets up Wyatt Lesnar, but then you've got, who do you have going to Mania to face Triple H? Is it Roman? Is it Ambrose? What happens to the Intercontinental title between now and then?
Who knows? You could have, I don't know if they want to put the rocket on Ambrose, but that's the chance to do it.
Well, they did it with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania.
I feel like they still want Reigns to be the guy, but there's just so many questions.
Well, I will give Roman Reigns all the credit in the world. The guy seems like a hard worker.
He does everything you ask him.
He does everything you ask him. When they give him short, intense promo material, he delivers it well.
If not, you get tater tots.
If not, you get tater tots. And that's the problem. The guy does not have the improv skills of a Rock or a Steve Austin, but they don't give the guys enough of a leash right now to develop those skills. So you've got them wanting to make Roman Reigns the next John Cena. Nobody wants another John Cena right now. And
it's rough. You always, and I thought it could have been coming last night or Sunday night. I thought it could have been coming that maybe Ambrose gives him the double cross.
Yeah, finally turns heel on him.
And that would have.
And that's still a possibility for Fastlane, but
you never know.
I think if you turn Ambrose heel to get Reigns over as a face, it is not going to work.
No.
They are going to cheer Ambrose as a heel, and then you'll get the 50-50 reaction for Reigns.
That's a tough line to walk. But I got on the internet after this match, Triple H wins, and people were so mad that Triple H basically booked himself into the 30th spot, the easiest spot, that he eliminated Reigns, that he won the title, and now he just wanted one more run. But here's the thing.
Who else did you have to go into that spot?
But here's the thing. That's what they want you to be mad about. They want, you think you're working yourself into a shoot, as Hulk Hogan would say. You're working yourself into a shoot because the whole point is you're not supposed to like the heels. You're not supposed to like what the authority does. You're supposed to hate it. And that's what they use, when the good guys win in the end. But can they finish? Can Roman climb the mountain again? Because they did it with him once, and now they've taken it from him again, and it's going to be hard to get it back.
And the question is, if he can climb the mountain again, will he have fan support with him? He did it the first time. He finally got the fans back on his side, and then they've kind of went soft on him again. So can Roman build a dedicated fan following in the 2 months leading up to Mania?
We'll see what happens. They get a little extra time because it's the 1st of April, so they got 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
10 weeks.
And 4 weeks to Fastlane. So you got a 4-week build to Fastlane.
A 6-week build to Mania. So they've got a little more time, but can they do it? Because if you noticed, going into the last time, he He was the first act out. He was the last act out for a month. For a month on Raw, and he worked his way into it. But what won him over with the fans was not the promos, was not the FaceTime. It was beating people up. And if they can get back to that, I think they're fine.
I think that's what they're going to have to do. Short, intense promos. Jumps Triple H, beats him down. Jumps Vince, beats him down. I don't know what you do with Stephanie in this situation, but you don't want to go that route. But I think you've got to get her involved.
She's took her fair share of stunners in her day, so
that's true.
I
Although
don't
those were before the PG days.
I don't know if she can take a spear from Roman Reigns or not at this point in this point in the WWE life cycle. But we'll see what happens. But I'm intrigued by all of it. I think it should be good.
Let me ask you before we wrap things up here. What are your predictions heading into Fastlane and then heading into Mania from here?
Heading into Fastlane, I mean, I'm just going to assume that. I'm just going to assume that Roman is the guy going forward. Will we see a swerve? Who knows? I don't think Brock is going to be the guy up against Triple H in the end.
No.
That's the only thing that I'm confident in saying. I'm leaning towards Reigns. I would be fine with Ambrose. Well, it's one of those things that I wish that I could say I know exactly what they're going to do, but I don't. And that's part of the allure here is that we really don't know what's going to happen.
There's not a clear picture going forward. I'd say my thoughts on Fastlane, I'm going to say the odds-on favorite is Reigns ends up going to Mania to face Triple H in the main event for the world title. The dark horse candidate is Ambrose. Brock will not be fighting for the world title at Mania. He will be fighting the Wyatt family in some shape or fashion. I think you have either a triple threat or a fatal four-way for the Divas title. Like I said earlier, tag belts probably going to be, I'm going to guess, New Day and Cass and Enzo, like I said. U.S. title's probably going to be defended in a ladder match that will probably be a crazy spot fest. And I bet Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn happens at Mania as an undercard match.
You got AJ Styles has to be in there somewhere. Maybe they go forward with Jericho. I think that's a good first match. I don't know if that's a good Mania match.
I think that's a good Fastlane match. What do you do with Styles after Fastlane? You maybe put him in the U.S. title picture, maybe get that AJ in a ladder match. You know, we've seen him do some crazy things in Ultimate X. We could see what he could do with a ladder. That's a possibility.
Maybe so, but one thing that I think could possibly happen in the championship match at Mania is Triple H gets screwed by the Architect, Seth Rollins. Maybe he's back in time. Maybe he's back, but he inserts himself in there, or maybe he screws Roman Reigns again. You know, who knows?
Yeah, you still got the question mark about whether Rollins is going to be back.
I don't think Triple H has the title long term.
No,
you know.
I think I think the longest he has it is until Mania. I think if Triple H is champion going into Mania, he loses it. The question is who to. Do we get Rollins back by Mania? I'd say that one's pretty iffy. Do we get Cena back by Mania? I'd say the odds are really against that one.
Yep.
So two of your top dogs. Here's a third top dog we haven't even talked about, but according to the dirt sheets, had a third doctor clear him. Mr. Daniel Bryan may now be in play for WrestleMania.
Still not cleared by WWE doctors. I think that's what they're.
That's going to be the holdup, and that's.
We'll see what happens, but plenty of questions left to be answered. I look forward to seeing what they do, and in the meantime, we'll have plenty of wrestling on Monday nights and Thursday nights, and NXT is. And
Lucha Underground makes its return
that's
tomorrow.
this week.
Tomorrow night, Wednesday night. So chances are this hits on Wednesday or late Tuesday night. El Rey Network. If you have Sling TV or Direct TV, I know it's on there.
Which The Rock endorsed on Twitter the other day.
Wow, Rock put over Lucha Underground.
Absolutely, I'm sure Vince has already called him and told him to delete his tweet, but he put over Lucha Underground. So.
Yeah, I had a blast watching. I jumped on the Lucha Underground bandwagon about halfway through the season last year. it's a different style of wrestling, not only in the sense of lucha libre style, but you also get a much more story-driven product.
It's very cinematic.
It is beautifully shot. The vignettes are shot like it's straight out of a movie. So it is very.
It's good stuff. When they say that it's a season, I mean, it feels like
it feels like if you were to put like the first 39 episodes of Lucha Underground on Netflix, you'd binge watch that over 3 or 4 days.
It's good stuff.
It is
good stuff. But look forward to it as the weeks go on. We'll be keeping you updated on here on the podcast. Thanks for stopping by, Shane.
Probably my last one, but it's been a good ride.
I'm sure we'll get you on here again. We'll get you on here again. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you next week.